Yesterday I did a bit of bike maintenance, very necessary and long overdue bike maintenance, and it was successful and it was good. I'm glad I did it. So the problem was that I had two slow leaks in both my front tire and my back tire. I think my back tire actually, upon further investigation, had two slow leaks, so that was not good. And it's just, if you've watched last week's video or my previous video there with the Halloween story, where I managed to get blown up by the Miami Beach Fire Department. They were very kind and inflated my tire in the middle of the night on Halloween, which was great. I'm glad they had this pump, the compressor thing in place. They're very exciting stuff. So that happened, and it was a slow leak that got me home, and it lasted a couple of days as well, but it was something that I needed to sort out. And I could see, I told you previously about the tire slime stuff, and tire slime kind of goes into the holes using the internal pressure of the tire, and that makes it, sometimes if the hole is large enough, you can see there's so much slime coming out that it's in fact going through the actual tire. So I could see two small wet patches there, about 20 degrees separated from one another, and those were the slow leaks. And the tire slime did hold it together for that long, which was great, but it's of course something that needs to be sorted out sharpishly before, you know, one of my tires deflates again just magically. So I also knew that I had an issue with my front tire, because one of the other things about tire slime that I haven't mentioned before was the fact that when you inflate your tires with the slime in it, and this is very, very, very important, the valve needs to be at the top. So therefore the tire slime kind of leaks to the bottom and is in the bottom kind of, you know, part of the wheel, whereas the top is free and you can pump air in it. If you do it the other way around and the valve is at the bottom, then the tire slime will clog up that portion of the wheel, and of course if you then inflate the tire, then the internal pressure will squeeze tire slime out of the valve right into your pump, and that's terrible. It's not so bad for the pump, but it will probably damage the little valve, and this is exactly what happened in my case. So yeah, that's the issue that I had. And my front tire, from not knowing that, when I did it the first time, I was thinking, oh my god, that was a big mistake. And then of course reading the description, it tells you that on the bottle, so it's one of those things. That's crazy stuff. So there we go. The issue was that my front valve was clogged up. I'm sure there was also a slow leak in there, but the tire slime was taking care of that. But if ever I had to top up the front tire, it was really, really tough for me to pump it up. So it's very, cost a lot of energy to do that, you know, and it's just not something that's just, I can't do it with a hand pump. I can just about do it with a foot pump, but of course if I'm out and about and I have a flat and I just need to add a bit of air, then my little hand pump, my Topeak hand pump, can't do it, or I can't do it with that pump. It's just that I'd need so much pressure to do that. So therefore I decided, while I'm at it, I'm going to replace both my inner tubes for both tires, the back one and the front. And Julia had a great idea. Why don't you add the GoPro to a little sign post, the fence post there, and just screencast it and do it as a time lapse. And I did that, which I'm glad I did. I did it kind of halfway through, and it was you know, it was enough to see me do some tire maintenance there. I didn't quite catch the beginning of it, but it's, you know, it's just as good. And I just looked at the footage and it looks great. So I think I'm going to turn that into a little bit of an educational video with Anders Jensen's music, "You Make Me Smile," underneath it. Song that is so catchy, 80s type synth pop song, and really is catchy. So I'm going to add that to my main channel. I think I'm going to call it bike maintenance or something like that, or how to replace, I don't know, something along those lines. How to replace inner tubes, I don't know. It's probably something more along the lines of bike maintenance, kind of a little moment type video. So I did that, and while I put the tires back on, I discovered that I had an issue with my back brake. So I don't know if you know how V-brakes work, but they have these two levers that squeeze the brake pads onto the rim of the tire, and then, you know, that squeezes in there, energy gets turned into heat, and that's how your bike brakes. And the issue with those V-brakes sometimes is that each of these arms is held back. So if you're not pressing the brake, then these things do spring back on either side. And it should happen that when you press the brake, both of these things should come together at the same time. But in my case, it didn't quite happen that way. One arm was going onto the brake and the other one was kind of not moving, and that's not good. So it required a little bit of internet research there, but I discovered that this is due to the fact that sometimes these springs that are in these arms, they just need adjusting a little bit, and over time, of course, one gets weaker than the other. So it's good to keep an eye on that. And there's a tiny little adjustment screw there that you can loosen and tighten, and that will, in fact, which way am I going? Maybe this way. I am on my way to work, of course, so it's I do have a little bit more time this morning, but I will go a slightly different route. So I'm just trying to figure out which route that is. So bear with me there, folks. I think this is the good route. The one that says do not enter. Yeah, let's do that. Let's use that. Perfect. So anyway, these two little things can be adjusted so that one arm has more tension than the other. And as a result, you can even those two things out. That means that when you press the brake, both of these things come onto the rim at the same time. But I think what I did do accidentally, I may have also loosened a different type of screw, and as a result it meant that one of my brake pads was now misaligned and was kind of hanging onto my rim at all times, which meant that the wheel was not free spinning. So what it did was there was a bit of resistance there when I cycle, and that of course is not something you want to experience. It's just a very inefficient way of doing it, and one of those things. So it took me a little while to figure that out, in fact most of the day, until I realized, well, what I probably did was when I loosened the brake pad, it would have over time kind of developed a little groove whenever it goes onto the rim. So by the time I loosened it and tightened it on again, I guess I misaligned it. So this groove was now on my rim at all times, and as a result there was, I had to my brakes were working very differently, and it was kind of braking my tire at all times, so that was not good. So when I loosened that screw again, it just made the brake pad the brake pad a little bit lower, just a tiny bit lower. I could catch that groove again, and now my bike is working phenomenally well again, so that's great. So sorted out the slow leak, sorted out the back brake, and learned a bit about V-brakes in the process, so that's very exciting. And the other thing that I did on this occasion, while I was kind of in bike maintenance mood, I washed my bike very good, so it did need a clean, especially the tires, and that hadn't happened for many months. A time period I expect will be similar to me waiting at this red traffic light here right now. Or are we lucky enough and will somebody stop? Terrible. I'm just gonna go, yeah, there. So anyway, what I also did on this occasion of bike maintenance while jumping the red light was to replace my handlebar grips. So that's these two parts, this one and this one. I guess you can't see, because they were still the original ones from my Electra Townie bike. That's the one I'm riding. It's a very comfortable, kind of laid back, it's not a race bike, it's a very laid back type of bike, and it had these very nice custom stitched handlebar grips made of faux leather. They looked really nice with purple stitching, but the issue was that they over time disintegrated, so I kept having black bits all over my hands, and that was just terrible, and I just didn't want that anymore. So I understood that they needed replacing, and I thought, okay, well, let's see if my local bike shop has anything cheap and cheerful there. And you wouldn't believe the amount of handlebar things that you can get. I mean, from tape to anything that is like super ergonomic and costs upwards of $100, and it's crazy stuff. So mine were $14.99, which was great, and they are made by a company called, I believe, Sunbike, made in China, and they're kind of slightly ergonomic. I remember buying something similar in back in London when I upgraded my Saracen bike. That was nice too. Those were nice, especially on longer rides. The difference between those and regular grips is that they're a little bit flat on one side, so you can kind of put your hand on there. This is a nice area called Espanola Avenue, Road Street, or something, Espanola Way, there we go. And it's all kind of European style, hence the cobblestones, which make the camera vibrate a lot. I just thought I'd mention that. It's a very nice area. You can go for meals here, and there's tiny hotels, and it's very bustling with activity here. I usually don't come this way, so I thought I'd maybe mention it. So I replaced those as well, and now I have very nice, comfy, ergonomic, very cheap handlebar grips again. That's cool. It's the same company that made my bike pedals, the ones I've replaced. They're also made by Sunbike, and they're really nice actually. I've never had a problem with my bike pedals again, so that's cool. So that's that much for bike maintenance. While I'm scrambling to find my way here, maybe I can jump another red light here. Excellent, perfect. So the other thing that'll happen for me this week, and that's why I thought I'd maybe tell you what's going on. I have my second kind of hopefully successful appointment with Dr. Kuznier, my oncologist, tomorrow, if everything goes well. I mean, that's not. We have a saying in Germany that means don't compliment the day before it's evening. And I guess this is kind of true for this incident as well. Let's just wait and see if it actually gets to that. I'm sure it will, and that's going to be exciting. I've also managed to see, so then we'll get to know the results of my latest CT scan, see what comes out, and see what my latest blood work looks like, and I'll have an update for you on that as well. And hopefully it's going to be all positive. Other than a tiny bit of weight gain, which I've noticed there, I'm about 204, 205 pounds right now, which is those extra 3 pounds more than I would like them to be. So I gotta be a little bit careful with the snacks and not just buy those Cuban super sweet pastries all the time. They are very nice, but they are just 100% sugar and fat, so it's one of those things. I will be careful. Note to self: must stop snacking shit. Very important. So that'll happen tomorrow. And another thing that'll happen this week, which is why I'm taking some time out this week from working at my day job, is that on Thursday, I believe, I have managed to get an appointment with Dr. Oliver, my special tooth extraction guy, dentist specialist dude, at the other practice, so that perhaps my insurance will now cover him at the other practice. Just like I said I was going to do, I managed to do it. I managed to track down that practice. Lucky me. Love leaf blowers, by the way. Love them to bits. Love them so very, very much, because they're so useful. They make a lot of noise. The end. There's really nothing else that they do. They make the street look nice for about 2 minutes, and then the wind comes and goes, puts leaves back where they once were. So absolutely pointless exercise of burning fossil fuels. So there we go. Slight issue I'm having there with leaf blowers. So yeah, so my wisdom teeth on this side will be removed. 2 of them. These 2 are already out, like I told you in that previous video, and now it's time for these 2. I'll have an update on you there later this week, as soon as I can speak again. I must say though, with Dr. Oliver, I have a really good feeling about this, so I'm not anxious. I'm just aware it's kind of happening, and it's I think the timing is good because I feel good. I have half a brain cell left that I can deal with this. I can kind of do this. Last time I even made a screencast literally the day later, or even on the same day. I don't quite remember. It took about a week for the swelling to all go down, and I hope it's going to be flawless this time as well. I can only hope, fingers crossed here, that things will go well and not end up with a similar experience that I had when I was about 13, 14 years old back in the day with Frau Dr. Mangold in Bremen. That was terrible. That was terrible. Yes. So, but mustn't think about that. You know, stiff upper lip and all that. So good. Let's keep it in focus. That things were very positive last time I met Dr. Oliver. So all going to be good this time too. There we go. So that's that. And the timing, as I said, I hope is good, because in about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, we're going to Ohio, my wife and I, which is very exciting. I'm going to meet my old friend Jay Cherie and her husband Mukesh, and we're going to meet lots of friends and family. And the idea is, from Ohio we're going to go over to the Niagara Falls, so that's going to be an interesting one. I've never been, and of course we want to see both the New York side and the Canadian side as well. So let's see what that trip entails. I hope it's going to yield some very good footage. I've got a $20 goodie bag from Amazon with all kinds of GoPro gear. So it comes with a chest harness and with a helmet attachment, and even like a GoPro wrist attachment and all that. So hopefully there's going to be awesome amounts of footage I can shoot. So there's also this power stick that I have, so I'm not going to run out of power when I'm walking around. I may even invest into one of those GoPro microphone adapters, so I don't have to start a separate audio feed there all the time when I do narrations. That may actually be a good investment. Oh, speaking of which, yeah, so this adapter, just on a technical note here, this adapter is necessary to connect a microphone like this one, an analog 3.5 TRRS analog headphone jack type microphone, to the GoPro 5 and up, because on the GoPro 4 it was possible to connect these things with a standard USB connection with a tiny little adapter that was, you know, cheap as chips. But the re-engineering thing that they did with the GoPros was that when they brought out the 5 and up, they no longer included the AD converter in the camera, so they're now having a little box that dangles on the outside of the camera. A bit rubbish, but you know, it saves room inside the camera, and I guess only 0.0001% of people wanted to use an external microphone with the GoPro, because the built-in ones are so good, aren't they? So anyway, crazy. So I might need that, but the thing is $50, and I really despise spending that kind of cash on a gadget that probably costs about 99 cents to manufacture. So the interesting thing though, a couple of days ago, was that I've been sent a survey by the nice GoPro people and said, hey, you've just bought a GoPro, that's awesome, why did you do that, type thing. And they wanted to know, in essence, why I bought their 2-year-old version for less money than the brand new version for a lot more money. And the end result of that survey is that you get a voucher, allegedly 33% off accessories if you order from the GoPro website. So I'm doing the maths here. I'm thinking for $50 microphone connection box type thing minus 30%. I mean, let me just see, what is that? That is so 50 divided by 10, that's about 5, and we're having 3 of those. That's $15 off, so I'm getting that for about $35. Probably plus $15 shipping or something ridiculous like that. But if I were to get it cheaper, then I would probably invest, because that means I wouldn't have to run a separate audio feed to record my narration. I could just plug it into the GoPro and it'll be recorded right there in one feed. This makes my post-production life a lot easier. Issue is, of course, that anything the GoPro records with audio is out of sync. I don't know why. This is one of those things I'd like to see improved, rather than increase the frame rate to, I don't know, 1 billion frames every nanosecond. Really not something anybody wants to see. But perhaps record some of the basics, you know, fix some of the basics, like, you know, record audio in sync. That's another nice suggestion here to the GoPro people. Other than that, I think that is it pretty much. Now I'm gonna go to work. I'll see what the time is. Perhaps I do have time to sit there and have a nice little cafecito by the bay. It is beautiful. I will show you some footage from around that area. There's a nice little park. It's called the Maurice Gibb Memorial Park, in honor, of course, of Maurice Gibb from the Isle of Man, like, you know, and he was the guy, one important member of the Bee Gees. Barry still lives here, as far as I know, together with Phil Collins. I mean, not that they're not roommates. They just both live in Miami. And one day I will take you down to Phil's house, which is on North Bay Road, 5800 North Bay Road. It's J-Lo's, Jennifer Lopez's old house, the largest house, or the largest house with the largest surroundings you can buy here in Miami Beach. It's something like 7 acres or something. I don't have the figures off heart, but I will take you there. It's going to be a nice expedition. Perhaps now that it's getting a little bit cooler, it's a great idea to take you there and show you Phil's place. Not that I'd probably get inside and have tea with him. I don't know where Barry lives, but he is apparently in Miami. And another interesting bit of information there, speaking about the Morris Gibb Memorial Park, one of the famous songs by the Bee Gees was, of course, Jive Talking, Jive Talking, that one. And it was apparently inspired by them going on a convertible over the MacArthur Causeway, which is one of the big bridges for car traffic. And they have these there's little bridges coming off it to go to these artificial little islands like Star Island and all that. And one of the things that they had back in the days were hanging overhead lamps, and driving at a particular speed, going through these lamps, that inspired that rhythm. And they wanted to call that song something else before, but I forgot what that was now. So I'll see if I can find that tourist bus guide that told me that and tell you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and being with me in November. I will see you very soon for another update. Take care.